show is ready. And don't forget the Toblerone, which goes right in the center. Like a little gift with the nougat. The nougats. Nougat. Nugget.
There it is, man. That's a clip from a good friend of mine. A lot of folks in Canada will know her from hosting 3 seasons of the Top Chef Canada, but she's been on our show as well in the past. And the last time I went striped bass fishing, I went with her husband, and we had such an excellent time. I've been trying to get back with these people for the longest, and now she has her new book out, Eating Out Loud, Bold Middle Eastern Flavors for All Day, Every Day. It's a cookbook available Tuesday, September the 1st, so all of our chefs, feel free to call up and welcome the one and only Chef Eden is here. Eden, what up?
Hey, how are you?
Hey,
Yes, how you been?
So happy to finally talk with you. I feel like it's been so long.
How long has it been? Like, I was just asking about your daughter, and you was telling me she's 3 now?
I know. It's crazy. It's like happening overnight. I feel like, did we go fishing after I had her or before?
I feel like
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think we went fishing before. Yeah, it was before. You couldn't have went fishing pregnant. So I think it was before you.
Yeah.
I want to say it was before. Yeah, it was longer than 3 years ago, but I had such a great time.
We had the best time. And we've gone a couple times. We met at the actual radio station.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I was doing interviews for a show I had on the cooking channel, and we met like in the lobby, and my husband was there, and you guys started talking about deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we are like on a boat, literally like reeling in these were big, like striped bass. These were like 30-pound stripers.
Yeah, say that loud. They don't believe me when I say these stories, Eden. So you're my proof that these things happen.
Okay, sorry. It wasn't 30 pounds. It was a 40-pound striper, okay?
There you
and
go.
we did it all by ourselves. Sway did it all by himself, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Since I haven't been able to go striped bass fishing much since then, but I've actually been cooking a lot more, especially because of the quarantine. So this book, I think, comes at a great time for a lot of folks. Did you have a lot of people calling you during the quarantine about recipes and how to make certain dishes?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously everyone's at home cooking more now than ever. And I feel like, especially with social media, everyone's like connecting over new recipes, and I actually developed a bunch of recipes during quarantine while waiting for the book to come out. And it's amazing how many people were really like responding over them. It's like, because, I think people are cooking now that like haven't even cooked in the past. So a lot of people are actually learning like right now. But yeah, the book comes out, obviously September 1st, which is in 4 days. First of all, I can't believe it's September. And second of all, I can't believe that it's like around the corner. I've been talking about this book, writing a book. It takes like 2.5 years to like develop and test and write and edit and shoot. It's like really, when you put a book together, it's kind of like, my friends told me, they're like, it's kind of like birthing a child. Like you grow this baby and then you like let it out into the world. And it's just like an incredibly emotional experience. But, it's really exciting. All these recipes are just recipes that I cook a lot at home for my friends and my family. So now I get to see it in everyone else's kitchens, which is going to be so surreal.
Right. And the thing about Chef Eden is that you've cooked in restaurants around the world, whether Europe, India, South Asia, or of course Israel. Do you find a whole lot of similarities? What are some of the similarities and differences that you find in these regions? Because this book is bold Middle Eastern flavors. So what are some of those similarities that you find and differences?
Well, I had an opportunity. I went to Le Cordon Bleu in London, and then I traveled throughout Europe, and I worked in different kitchens while I was living there. And then I ended up backpacking in India for like almost a year. And then, I've had just like this kind of really like, it's a little bit of like an eat, pray, love food journey a little bit. And I ended up ending that journey before I moved to New York and Israel. And I just, being half Israeli and growing up on that food, I never really asked a lot of, it was just kind of like second nature to eat a lot of these dishes. But after I went to culinary school, I kind of dove a little bit deeper into the cuisine, and I started asking more questions, and it really inspired me to get into the kitchen. And then after moving to New York and, starting to cook while I was in New York, that was the only food I really wanted to show people. I was just so inspired by what was happening in Israel. So that was the food that I really gravitated towards. And it's kind of evolved a little bit. The food that I make, especially in eating out loud, is kind of like my take on those traditional flavors and dishes. It's very much like a contemporary Middle Eastern book. There's actually a little bit of like Indian influences in some of the recipes. And even some inspiration from living in New York for 10 years. So it's kind of like my version, my take. And, it's just inspiration, from all over. And another thing that's really cool about, cooking is it's universal. Like it's a universal language. So it doesn't matter where you live. If you cook and you have those skills, you can kind of adapt and find your own way. So it's cool.
I think cooking is a great way for people from different walks of life to come together. Kind of like music. We say the same thing about hip hop culture, where you could go into a club and because of the music, you might get different people from different religions, different ethnic backgrounds, different tax brackets are all congregated in this one space. And that's where a lot of great, safe conversation happens. You find that happens at your dinner table a lot?
100%. For me, I obviously grew up eating this food, and one of my favorite things in the world is, introducing a new ingredient or dish to someone, especially when they're incredibly picky. I'm such a food pusher. So if you sit at the table with me and I'm like, have you not tried this? They're like, no. I'm like, I will not get up until you try this dish. So I think that, food is definitely a connector. It brings people together from all walks of life. And it's a really easy way to learn about someone from just the history of food, the history of the spices. When I travel, that's how I get to know the country and the culture is through the food. So you go to a food market, you go to, I always ask about locals' favorite restaurants. For me, it's not necessarily about going to the nicest restaurant.
Yeah.
I think it's more about going to the most authentic restaurant. I think that's the best way to learn about people.
Okay. Chef Eden is on the line. I don't know how many culinary experts are out there want to ask a question, but her new book, Eating Out Loud, Bold Middle Eastern Flavors for All Day, Every Day, is available Tuesday. A cookbook is available Tuesday. Tracy G, you want to get in there and have the B?
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Chef Eden, it's Tracy. Thank you for joining us, and congrats to you again on this book baby of yours. I'm also wondering, yes, I know the metaphor for anything that we create being a child is definitely accurate. And I'm also wondering if the process is anything similar like an artist creating an album. And I think about how oftentimes you start with more than enough tracks that actually make it on the album. Is that also the case when it comes to a cookbook? Do you have other recipes that... Okay, so how do you decide which is going to be in the book and then which of your delights are just going to be only in the kitchen?
Oh my God, this is such a good question. And this is definitely this is why I think it's so emotional, because it's such a creative process and you put so much of your thought into everything that you make. So it's very emotional if you have to cut something. But yeah, when I got this book deal, I sat down and I wrote down every recipe that I wanted to put in the book. And then what you do is you kind of flush them out and you start trying them. And if they don't work, you're obviously crossing them off at the list. But then eventually what you have to do is sit down the people that you trust most. And you say, it's kind of like blind tasting. I'm like, what do you like more? So that's kind of how I go, because obviously I know what I love, but I'm also trying to make, I can't make everyone happy, but I'm trying to make more than just myself happy. So I know what I love. I take the things that I love, and then I kind of just sit my friends and my family down, and I try everything out on them. And, I feel very fortunate to, like, have people that are incredibly honest with me, because, obviously anyone can just say, oh, it's great, it's good. But I have, like, my husband will be like, this needs more of this, or I don't know where you're going with this. Like, my husband is so honest, and he, thank God, has an incredible palate. So I really, really trust him. Like, I swear, every recipe in this book is Ito and Ave, my daughter, approved. Like, if they like it, I'm like, these were good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's definitely a creative process, though. Like, it's a labor of love, and it's like a 2.5 year project of, like, going back and forth and, the pictures. I'm such a visual person, like finding the right photographer and picking the right food. Like, for me, like a cookbook, the recipes and the photography are the most important parts. Because if the pictures don't pop out at you and, like, grab your attention, then I don't think you're going to be as interested to make that dish.
Chef Eden is here. We'll take your calls, too. Now, HB is our resident chef. HB, you got any questions for?
Chef Eden, Sway is being really, really gracious. I'm straight up. I'm a home cook, and I enjoy it and I love it, and I love your energy and everything that you bring in to our show. Thank you so much, like Tracy said, for joining us today. So because I'm a home cook and not formally trained, I have this saying in the kitchen. I'm always saying that cocky cooks get burnt, because I watch so many chefs and cooks, like, just so cocky and just, like, never tasting their food as they go along and not wanting to, like you said, breaking down that process of having people around you that you trust and have them, like, sample food and sample recipes and different things like that. What made you so comfortable, though, in the kitchen? Because a lot of times when you're making these meals and making these dishes, you do get protective, and it's so easy to get your feelings hurt when you making this art and then you serve it and people like, nah, I really don't like it. So you have to get to a place where you get comfortable in the kitchen. What was that deciding factor for you? Or what was that thing that made you comfy?
But you know what? I also view myself as a home cook. And I feel like the only thing that's made me feel, like, more confident in the kitchen, because, like, don't get me wrong, there are days where I'm like, what did I make?
Absolutely.
Feel like I definitely have my days. I am 100% not saying that I am, like, easily whipping things up every day and they're, like, 100% perfect. So I feel like it's just practice. Like, really what it comes down to is, just the time you spend working on your craft. That's what feeds, like, your understanding, obviously, of, like, what you do, and also of, like, your confidence. And I think confidence definitely encourages, like, more risk taking. And I do think when you take more risks, you end up learning more. For me, I never learn until I really kind of fail. So I need to, like, really, I always try and push myself, knowing that it's probably not going to work out the first, the second, the third, maybe even the fourth time.
Fifth, yeah.
So I think it's about just, like, pushing and working on those hours of just, like, your skill and, like, your passion of what you do. And, hopefully, like, it comes together, if you, I think, like, honestly, if you, like, really, really love it, and you put that time in, you'll just, it's just that.
No, I love it. It's Sway, to your point when you were saying that Eden is your friend and you went fishing with her husband. Like, I can hear it. Like, I can hear it. Your humility, even in the conversation that you're having with us, because people don't realize, even as home cooks, as you stated, you clarify yourself as a home cook first, people don't see like the money that you spent trying out these different recipes and going back and forth, and you spend hours prepping and doing all these things, and then your dish, something can go wrong. People never see that, and the only way to correct it is to go back in and start all over again. Like you have to just do it all over again and be in the right setting. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing a bit of your process with us.
Chef Eden, you got a lot.
Thank you.
You have a lot of people on the line that want to talk with you, and so I'm gonna go through these lines. We got Brent from Illinois on the line. What up, Brent? How you doing?
Brent, what's up,
Hey,
Brent?
Brent.
How about yourself?
What up?
We're doing well, man. Quick question. Go for it. Say hello to Chef Eden.
What's going on, Chef Eden? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. It's good to hear from another fellow chef. I am a chef at a Kickapoo Winery here in Peoria, Illinois. Was actually Everett, Illinois. And being a chef, man, it's actually a hard job, man. I'm telling you, man, you give up a lot of stuff like birthdays, holidays. Man, it's a rough job. And if you're not prepared to do that type of job, man, it's get hectic.
It get hectic.
100%. That's something a lot of in the restaurant industry, it's like the kind of work-life balance is like it's just very challenging. And I think, right now I'm not working in a restaurant, so my hours are definitely a little bit more on the regular side. But I think that's definitely something like important to point out. Like anyone that works in a kitchen is putting in their time. Like that is, It's hard. It's physically very, very challenging, and also emotionally and like mentally, because you're just there and missing probably a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you on your feet all day.
You gotta get the right speakers. Yeah, Brent, thanks for your call. You a citizen, bro.
Sway in the morning.
We got Sharice from St. Louis on the line. What up,
Hey,
Sharice?
Cherie. Oh, Sharice.
Hey, Cherie.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Good,
You gotta-
good. How you doing, Miss Eden?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I heard that a lot of your stuff is based around Middle Eastern recipes and whatnot. I have a question for you. What is the difference between Palestinian recipes and Israeli recipes?
There's a lot of different influences from different cultures within Israel right now, and it's just the country's made up of so many different cultures, and that makes up the food that's there. So in Israel, there's Yemen food, there's Romanian food, there's Iraqi food and Turkish food. And I think that, Palestinian influence and Palestinian dishes, and that all those different, cuisines are what make up what Israeli food is today. So it's just kind of like a bunch of different cultures that kind of came together and have obviously built this cuisine to what it is today and how it evolved to what it is today.
Have you tasted Palestinian dishes, or are they similar? Since it's right there, or, it's right in the same area. Are the foods similar in many ways?
There's definitely influences. It's all kind of melted into one, because all the different influences of the different cultures within that region, and also all the different influences of the cultures that have, come to Israel. Everything's kind of just melted into this cuisine, and you feel all the different influences in the food.
Okay. Thank you, Cherise. Great question. You are a citizen.
Sway in the morning.
Chef Eden, listen. Tell Ito we got to go fishing again.
100%.
Because we had an amazing time. I feel like he was working on the Planet Earth series, wasn't he? What was he working on back then?
No, he works at a tech company. He's a CRO. He's Chief Revenue Officer of a tech company, but he knows a lot about fishing and takes any opportunity he can get to go out, especially because when he finds friends that can actually handle the motion sickness. From what I can recall, I don't know about I remember I was like definitely motion sick, and I had to sit down halfway through.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Was I alone there?
No. I had with my people who were with me spent the whole time vomiting too, and then got up to catch a Cece. She got up and caught a striped bass, and then went back to vomiting.
Yes.
I remember that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it was a crazy day, but we had a wonderful time. The whole few hours.
Listen, people think fishing, like deep sea fishing. We're going out into the water. Those were some rocky waves. Like we were like holding on. Like the girls were like trying not to puke. We were like, it was actually really funny when you think back. But no, it was a great day, and like we absolutely love hanging with you, and hopefully we can do that sooner rather than later. And thank you so much for having me on.
All love. Let's make this book sell. Eating Out Loud, bold Middle Eastern flavors for all day, every day. A cookbook by my friend Chef Eden. Thank you for calling in. Give her a round of applause. And tell Edo I said what up, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, absolutely.
Bye, Eden.